Because it's the absolute bare minimum. That's why. Now, I'll explain more in this video why I think this playlist that they just added is the worst playlist in the game. Technically speaking. Because, frankly, I just think that this is the bare minimum. We're gonna go into specifically why I think this playlist falls flat in a few places, but I have a theory on why this playlist is so limited, so meh, so finite? Is that the word that I'm looking for? I don't know. Tell you what, there is a few words I'm looking for though. One of those includes subscribe. Other ones include check out and my socials. But the final word is worst. Because I think the Drift 2 playlist is the worst playlist in the game. By default, really. Now look, you might like Ocean and Sky worse. You might think the Porsche playlist sucks and could barely drag yourself through it. You might think the off-road playlist is a absolute nuisance. And that's all well and good. Because hey, those playlists have at least got something unique that opens you up to having an opinion on them. This playlist is drift events. Full stop. The Lamborghini playlist has the clean driving and goes through the history of Lamborghinis and a bunch of different specs and whatnot. The off-road playlist is a championship where you compete in the different vehicles. The motorsports playlist has tire wear and all of those kinds of things, and the pit stops, and it's all on the tracks, and it's racing. It changes between Alpha GP and between the touring car. The Donut Media playlist has so many unique events. It's got the 1v1 event, the 2 separate lane events. It's got the slowly increasing your speed F-150 event. Those are unique playlists. Those aren't just events, but they're unique things in the events. This playlist is drift events. That's it. It's drift events. Now, that's not the car I selected. Is the game okay? As far as the actual events, they're pretty good. The tracks are nice. That's about it. That's about where that praise ends. The tracks are pretty nice. They're through nice locations. The one in Honolulu is a personal favorite of mine. The other ones are just pretty good drift routes. Now, there's no road routes this time around. They're all the floating, spontaneously appearing tracks, which is fine. Because again, like I said, they're actually pretty good. This one is also a highlight. I like the fact that you drift through the canyon, and then you do a little spiral all the way down, and then you do the little drift again all the way up to the top of the, not canyon, archway is what I meant to say. It's good. I like the layout of the events, but that's really where the praise ends. So let me start going into a few of the reasons why I don't like this playlist. One, kind of arbitrary, doesn't really matter, is I will say this playlist would be a lot nicer if it just was a different color scheme. Look, you can keep the same logo, it can be Drift Volume 2, but a different color scheme would have been nice for navigating the menu at least. I mean, make the Mazda, sure, same livery, but make it blue instead, Then at least it's slightly differentiated, then it feels like a separate thing. Or at least make the Mazda, again, maybe keep it yellow, but if you're going to keep it yellow, keep the style different, make the style altered in some way if you're going to keep the yellow color. So it actually feels like a second playlist and not just scrapped events from the first. I'll say that too, it's a wild statement, but these do feel like scrapped events from the first, but I've got no way to substantiate such a claim, so I'm just going to let that one ride. These could be brand new events. I think that goes more into my theory later on how this playlist came about. Also, I absolutely beated that event. Not a single turn was messed up in any way. Perfect. Brilliant. Having literally a copy of the same car that was this, and the Mazda already basically looking like the Mazda from racing anyway, just feels kind of icky, The fact that it's basically just the Mazda from racing, but again, and then on top of that, it's just customized to look exactly like the Supra in Drift. Those few things make it unfortunate, but they're not a hindrance to the actual gameplay of the playlist. I'll explain why I think the actual gameplay of the playlist makes this the worst by default. Well, because it's the fundamentals. There's nothing on top of this playlist. It just is a playlist, full stop. It's not anything unique, it's just a playlist. Do I particularly have an issue with that? With the way I'm about to describe it, no. But I do still consider it the worst playlist because it is just a set of events, no unique voice lines. Well, yes, they're all by Kara, but that's it. It's just Kara voices this playlist. It even says in the host, it says Kara briefly. I didn't know that was her surname. What I mean to say is, look, people don't like the voice lines in this game. Some people don't. A lot of people might not. But for the people who actually play the playlist for an experience, the playlist as they're intended, the voice lines, the music, the copyrighted music, the voice lines, all of that. For people who play it for that, there's nothing unique about this. They're just events. You go in there and you sit there in dead silence. Sure, you might have the music playing, but past that, that's it. It's just, you sit there with your own thoughts doing the drift event. No talking, no nothing, which there was in the first playlist. It just feels hacked together. It feels just chucked together. So there is 7 events. Yes, there is the start of a playlist. There is the other locations. There is even a reward for this playlist. That's about it. Now, when I say I don't really have an issue with it, I mean, look, if they did this for a different spec, like Rallycross, I'd be kind of fine with it. I'd be upset because you could do so much more with Rallycross. But yes, if they did just dump some Rallycross events like this, like just put them in the game, no voice lines, no story, no challenge, just put them in the game with the most mediocre of playlists imaginable. They're just Rallycross events. That's all they are. Rallycross events. Yes, we would have more Rallycross events. That'd be great. We only have, at the moment, 2 Rallycross events in the entire game. So I'd take it for any spec, really. But that doesn't mean it couldn't be more. That doesn't mean it shouldn't have been more. And let's talk about the elephant that punches you in the face if you get too close to it. These things right here, as well as those things up there. What a shoddy attempt at a unique idea. Because that, maybe when I was saying, hey, these are just drift events, that's the only, there's nothing unique about them, they're just drift events. Maybe you were sat there going, well, Sid, they've got the big smashing things and the big punching things or whatever. Well, they're absolutely rubbish. Because one, yes, I'm an absolute idiot right now and I'm crashing into it over and over again. But if I was actually thinking, instead of, you know, sat here filming, talking about the playlist, you can avoid these with your eyes closed. They're the simplest thing in the world. In fact, right here, there you go. They spammed 6 of them, the easiest thing to get past. They made them not a challenge at all, and that's not the worst bit. They showed these in the trailer for this playlist. Sure, right? Great. So, you'd think they'd be a decent feature in the playlist. No, a decently prevalent feature, no. Instead, they're in 1.5 events. They're in this event, the final one, and they're partially in the second to last event. So, just a non-feature. We got 5 events, 5.5 events, with none of these things. That's a double-edged sword, because, you know, you could have been upset if they were here, because, as you can see now, maybe you want to play this track without them. I guess for that, maybe they just shouldn't be when you reconfigure, but I get that, hey, if they were in every event, you know, it'd suck because now we just got a bunch of events, but you can't play them without having to deal with these things. But at least they made the playlist unique. Now they make one event unique. Yippee! So they had a unique idea, but just didn't really use it, showing that this is a very, very, oh my god, what am I, Spider-Man? A very, very bare bones, a very, very simple, a very, very nothing playlist. When I played it, I was fine with it, because it was just drift events. It was nothing unique, it was nothing crazy, it's just drift events. But what really made me finally realize how nothing this playlist is. And what made me put together my theory on how this playlist even came about is the challenges. Look, I'll show you what I mean. Every single playlist in this game for the second to last challenges has 3 unique vanities. When I say unique, I mean exclusive to that playlist. You cannot get those vanities. I didn't collect that. How long have I not collected that? These vanities you cannot get anywhere else in the game. That was nice. That makes it, you know, regardless of if you like those vanities or not, there's actually something to do to get them. There's some reason to get them. Lamborghini window tint, right? You might want that. V12 engine, I know I'd want that. Every single playlist in this game has that. Every single one. And as much as the Drift Volume 2 playlists challenges are fine, they're the most, yup, these sure are challenges imaginable. The second to last reward for this playlist is 2 randomized drift parts. So not a set, not guaranteed nitro. You could get 2 of the same part with different affixes. You could get 2 of the exact same part. Randomized parts. That's the reward. 2 rubbish randomized parts. What did I get for that? I don't even know. Oh, live reward sniffer? Brilliant. Great. Cheers. Okay, a nitro cam. See, I don't even know which one of these. I don't even know which one of these is the one I got from the challenges, because there's such nothing rewards. Because you get those you get 2 golds if you just play the playlist. If you just play it, you get those rewards. It's utter nonsense. It's utter nothing. It's the worst imaginable thing. I wouldn't have even cared. I wouldn't have cared if I hadn't collected that either. I wouldn't have cared if they were just recolors. If they were just blue versions of these, orange versions of these, red versions of these. I would not have cared. Because at least, at the bare minimum, at least it would be 3 unique to those to that playlist, not updatable anywhere else in the game, rewards. Instead, it's nothing. Utterly nothing. Useless. Something that you can literally scrap. You can delete the reward. For the reward for doing 20 challenges? The reward for doing 20 challenges is something you can literally delete from your inventory. How insanely rubbish is that? And this leads on to my theory on why this playlist even exists. And why maybe it being that terrible is fine. The reason I think this is so little, the reason I have for this being such a little, absolute nothing of a playlist is because, look, when the game was first coming out, they were adamant it was one playlist and update. In my interview, I asked them, I even said, I was like, oh, one playlist every 3 months. When they said one playlist and update, updates being 3 months, I said, oh, one playlist every 3 months. They went, no, Sid. They clarified, and they said, no, one playlist and update. And then, one update in, all of a sudden, they're already adding 2 playlists. Here's what I think happened. I think over at Ivory Tower, they realized what I had been thinking for the entire lead up to this game. One playlist and update, roughly 3 to 4, by the way. Next update is 4 months. One playlist per update was never, ever going to be enough. A playlist is minimum only 4 hours of content without anything else on top of it. 4 hours only. A playlist a month would make way more sense, but one step towards that is a playlist every 1.5 months. So I think at Ivory Tower, they realized one playlist and update wasn't going to be enough. People were going to be sick of Hoonigan by this point in the update. So they decided, okay, we'll put together at least something. So they did the bare minimum of just making these tracks. They got the Kara voice actor, who might even be someone in-house at this point, because if she's not, they're going to have to be forking out a lot of money if she ever decides to go her separate way. So, they get Kara to do some voice lines. They don't film any other voice lines for the playlist. I don't even know if the music licensing was new. They only license one new car and just make it look exactly like a car already in the game. Then they don't even bother making 3 new vanities for the rewards. And then they just chuck the playlist out as a start to more than one playlist and update. That's what I think. I think the reason this playlist is so bare bones is because they just chucked it together because they realized they needed more than one. And I think I'm fine with that. If this is the bare minimum a playlist can be, as long as this doesn't continue, as long as we get even similar ideas, but just done way more in depth, I will be happy. Because from this, you can only build upwards. Okay, you have a playlist about drift. Make it a bit more unique than this. The first playlist did that. They had drift events, and then they made it drift races. Some people didn't like that. Sure, at least it was something unique to not like. This is just you either like drift events or don't like drift events. And that's the entire playlist you don't like then. You know, you can like drift cars, so then end up playing the drift first playlist. This one, not so much. So let me know. Let me know in the comments what you think of this drift playlist. Could it have been more? Or was it all you really wanted? Was it all you really needed? Because I definitely know where I stand in such an argument. They didn't even use any new assets. Not a single new asset. They just used the same assets as the first drift playlist, which I'm playing right now, and then spammed the snake everywhere. Look, that would have been fine if it was just a bit more something. Honestly, the biggest crime here for me, because like I said, all of it is kind of just fine, is the challenges. Not having 3 vanity rewards for the challenges is the biggest no-no here for me. The rest of it's whatever. But I will say, this is the kind of playlist we could get one every month with. Come on now. It's so bare minimum. This is the kind of playlist we could absolutely receive one every month with. Thank you to popular members, a special thank you to famous members, and an insane thank you to star members, Danimal the Manimal, Grim Pepper, and Extreme Speed, and an insane top of the top thank you to Icon members, HK, and Extreme Speed again. I love first person drifting, tell you what. It is quite fun. Hang on. I lost my score, which is really annoying. Hang on. And again. Pretty good. I like it. In a bit.